All right, so it's important to remember that absolute value means that it's the distance. So it's the distance a number is from 0 on a number line. So it's the distance a number is from 0 on a number line. So if I had like the absolute value of 4, that's saying it's 4 places from 0. So the absolute value equals 4. Same thing with the absolute value of negative 4. It's still 4 places from 0, so the absolute value of 4 or negative 4 is still 4. Okay, so steps to solving. All right, so the first step, and perhaps the most important step, is that you need to separate them. So separate into compound inequalities, so we separate into 2 compound inequalities, and when you do that, you need to, the first one you leave as is, and the second one you flip your inequality sign and you make it a negative. So you flip your inequality sign and you make it a negative. And you'll see that that'll make more sense when we do example 1. The second and third step are kind of similar. We're just saying that if it's greater than or greater than or equal to 2 means that it's an or inequality. Means that it's going opposite directions. It's an or inequality. If it's less than or equal to, that means it's an and inequality. It's going into each other. So if it's greater than or equal to, it's or. Think about greater. And if it's less than or equal to, then it's and. Okay, the last thing we do is always graph our inequalities. So now graph inequalities. So steps 2 and 3 aren't really steps, but just helpful reminders. So the really important part is that we separate them, and then 1 is regular, and 1 you flip sign and make it negative. So let's look at example 1 then. So example 1, we have to separate them. So this becomes b plus 8 is greater than or equal to 7. And it also becomes b plus 8. So we just bring this down. Now we have to flip our sign. So now it becomes less than or equal to, and make that positive 7 into a negative 7. So the first one stays the same. The second one, we flip our sign and make it negative. And now we can solve from here. So b is either greater than or equal to negative 1, and b is less than or equal to negative 15. And then we can graph those. 0, 14, 15, negative 1. Close circle at negative 15 going to the left. Close circle at negative 1 going to the right. Okay, so let's try another one. So again, the first one, we keep 4 minus 2x is less than 22. Less than means it's an and, so it's going in. The second one, we keep this part, 4 minus 2x, but now we flip our sign to make it greater than, and we make this 22 a negative 22. Now we can solve. We get negative 2x is less than 18 divided by a negative. Remember, when we divide or multiply by a negative, our inequality sign flips. So now we really have 9 is greater. Well, x is greater than negative 9. And then we're going to subtract by 4. So we get negative 2x is greater than negative 26. divide by a negative. Again, remember that means we flip our sign. Okay, so now we have a positive 13 up here, a negative 9 over here, a 0. Our negative 9 is an open circle going to the right, and our 13 is an open circle going to the left. So they're going to meet right there in the middle. Okay, and we know that because that's an and, so they should be going in towards each other. So now I want you to take a moment and try example 3 and 4. So take a minute, try example 3 and 4. When you're done both of them, unpause and you'll see all the work and the answers. All right, so now hopefully you have solved both 3 and 4. And this is what 3 should look like. Your graph should be an OR graph, and you get these two answers. It could be x is greater than 2 or x is less than negative 10. Number 4, it's really similar except kind of backwards. X is less than 2 and x is greater than negative 10. So now it's coming in because it's an and. All right, so let's try number 5. If you're up to a challenge, I would pause and see if you can get number 5. You should be able to, but for those that can't, that's okay. Just kind of follow along. So the first thing we need to do is to get rid of that 3. So because this absolute value is together, think of those like parentheses. We can't touch what's inside the absolute value. So can't touch the absolute value bars, but I can get rid of that 3 first. So I'm going to subtract 3 on both sides. And then I'm left with the absolute value of x minus 2 is less than or equal to 2. And again, since it's less than or equal to, it's an and. So we know it should be facing in. So I'm going to separate them. X minus 2 less than or equal to 2. X minus 2 greater than or equal to negative 2. Solve. X is less than or equal to 4. X is greater than or equal to 0. Graph. Okay. 5, negative 1. Close circle at 0. Going in. Close circle at 4. Going in. So now that's what our answer should look like. And we should have the word and in between here. Okay, so now that's our answer. So pretty straightforward. The only thing that's different, again, is this negative 3 here. That we had to subtract 3 before we separate.